It'll be just a moment. He's getting us back online here. So. All right, we will now move on to item 9, City Administrator comments. Any comments this evening, Mr.
Nothing
Furman?
further, thank you.
All right, Mayor and Council member comments. Mr. Weigel, any comments?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Ms. Osowski, any comments?
Yeah, I have something. So has anybody been able to look into the water meters to see if they have any kind of, security risks before we hook them up to the infrastructure? Yeah, just wondering if anybody's looked into that at all.
Todd, are you aware of any further review of the water meters?
Not at this time, but we'll bring back some final results based upon some of the feedback that we received.
Okay.
All right. I just really think that it kind of upsets me that we passed that without even looking into it, without anybody, even from the water department, having looked to see if there are security concerns. We kind of took a little bit of an ass kicking over Fufang, and I really think I would like to see us be more proactive before we just even present these things. I wish that maybe someone from the water department would have done a little bit of research. We were given the playbook. I know that it's not a CFIUS thing, but a lot of those questions on there, I think, could be good questions that we could use as a city to just kind of maybe help lead us down the right path to see if there are any red flags. I found out today, and maybe just it's my ignorance, but I'm concerned now about Epitome. It was my understanding that they left Minnesota because, of air quality that they couldn't get past. But now here they are. They haven't even purchased the land. We've already did the development agreement, and they're waiting for investors. So we don't even know who's investing in this project within our community. When I sent emails about it, I think it was last March, there were no concerns, and now are we going to stop then once we figure out who the investors are and then kind of run through that playbook like as a city? I'm just really concerned that we didn't learn any lessons over Fufang, and I would just like to see us as a city take steps in the right direction and make sure that we are doing the right thing for our citizens. So I would appreciate, if someone from the city could follow up on these water meters. I know that I'll have more questions for Epitome, finding out that they're not fully funded and they don't have all the investors. I guess I don't really understand how they were going to build in Crookston and it was all ready to go. And now here they are and they don't even have investments. It's just a little bit shocking to me. I thought the reason why they came here is so they could, move forward with their plan. And so now I just have a lot of concerns, and I would like to see us, take the lessons that we learned over Fufang, take that playbook that we were given, we were the first in the country to be given that, and really do our due diligence to make sure that we don't get, looked at as the city who just doesn't even take this stuff into consideration at all. So, thank you.
Maybe just as a follow-up with that, Mayor Brochenski, I did talk to Councilmember Osowski earlier today. So the key of the development agreement is, and why they're here, is it set up a framework so that any bank or any investor would understand what the project is and what they're going to have to move through with the city of Grand Forks. And so that framework's important. I think they are following through on their various due diligence, and certainly they want to attract, as we recall, it's about a $450 million project, plus or minus. Half of it's in debt, half of it's in equity. And so they've been going out to get that kind of funding for this particular project. I understand they're getting close. And part of the what we did with the development grant, they clearly understand if they're going to get foreign investment, where that needs to come from. And that might involve a CFIUS review. So I'm sure they're proactively looking at all those things as they move forward. And, I haven't been involved in building $450 million projects, but I'm sure they don't come by every day, and they're doing all their due diligence about who they'd want to invest in their project and what kind of debt they want to take out and with who. And they're moving through the state process with permitting on an air. I think you're going to hear about an air permit come up here this spring, which is kind of the crown jewel that they need to move forward. That's in the development agreement that they need an approved North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality air permit. So they're moving through that process. And so we always explain this with Fufang, is the development agreement just said we were going to work in good faith on a lot of things. And in that case, it was 20 plus things. We probably have 20 plus things that we need to work through. We're not saying that the project's a go. What we're saying is here are all the things that need to get accomplished, including the investment in this project needs to come from the right parts of the world. And so we've set the standard so when they go out and do what they're doing, they understand that. So I think we've done all the things that we can do. And again, I go back to the Fufang project. The reason why the project was stopped because we had a development agreement, we had a finding, and we stopped the project. And again, we're going to do the same thing with epitome energy. If there's something comes up, whether it's environmental, legal, foreign investment, we're going to stop the project. What the investor wants, they want to know what the rules of the game are. What do I need to accomplish so that I can get across the finish line on this project? Because they're going to be investing a lot of money into a project. They want to make sure they have a partner that's going to work in good faith with them. Regarding the water meters, certainly we went through a due diligence effort, and the water meters that are being used throughout the United States of America. And certainly we'll look to make sure as part of the agreement that, number one, they work effectively, and they work in a way that we want to prescribe. And so we're working through all those various details, but the council should be aware and the community should be aware. The water meters that are moving forward, we're not the only city that has them. We're not the only city that's moving forward with them. We'll look through all the various due diligence regarding that particular company too. So all we're trying to do is good things to grow the community and to be open-minded. And when things aren't right, we follow up on them. We don't want a community that just says no first. We're trying to say we will work on projects, we'll facilitate trying to get things across the finish line, and if we can't, we'll come back to the city council.
All right. Ms. Lunsky, any comments this evening?
No, thank you.
All right, Mr. Kavami.
No, thank you.
Mr. Veen?
No, thank you.
Vice President Weber?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
President Sandy?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate Ms. Osowski's comments and concerns. Just for her edification, Mr. Weigel and I did visit about that, and we talked about some of his contacts and if they had any insight on that company, and we hadn't heard back yet, but I do anticipate hearing back. But the interesting part about this, and I really do, I appreciate the fact that she brings up these because they're very relevant and very important concerns. The issue is there is no standard playbook on this. There is no standard playbook on who you should buy software from, because if there were, life would be really easy. But you look at Microsoft sells software all over the world. They've got subsidiaries selling software and building software in China. So does that mean we can't use Microsoft products? I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that they're doing that. Apple is building iPhones in China. Should we not use iPhones? There's no playbook on software. There's no standardized playbook on hardware. We don't know what we don't know. We're just trying to do, I believe, our team at City Hall is trying to do the best practices and the best that they can with what they've got. And anyway, I thought I'd bring that up and say Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. That'd be it for council members. Just want to thank everybody. I think these projects are tough. I mean, they're hard to get across the finish line. I think about the communities that are losing projects left and right, like a Gary, Indiana, like a Detroit. Think of what Roseau would look like without the Polaris factory. What does Thief River look like without DigiKey? What does Warroad look like without Marvin Windows there, or Grafton, for example? I think sometimes we can't be afraid of every business. We go through due diligence, but what is our community without a Simplot, American Crystal Sugar, LM Glass Fiber, Philadelphia Macaroni, PS Industries, a North Dakota Mill? Right there, you lose about 6,000 jobs, and we don't have a town. So I think the fact that we have large industrial projects coming here is a sign that we have a community that's booming, because it can certainly be the other way around. Then people are leaving and there's nothing left. If you think taxes are bad now, wait till your house price cuts in half and there's nothing left to pay for your schools, and your schools shut down and your town dies. So if you want to know why we fight so hard to make projects happen and to keep things going, that's why. So that's what I'll leave it on tonight. So I'll look for a motion to
I
adjourn.
move adjournment.
Got a motion to adjourn? Second from Mr. Weigel. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.